Austin's back, everybody! Boom, boom,
Here I am.
boom! He comes from to us live from his own abode and the
Yes, here at
office
the new
they're in.
house.
How about
hmm
that? Is moving the worst?
It is absolutely the worst. I hate it. I hate all the hauling, the unhauling. But it's kind of been the worst case scenario for our moving. I don't really want to get into it right now, but it's just been horrible. I hate it.
Well, I'll get into it a little bit because I don't think there's ever any kind of best case scenario. It's always the worst case scenario. Nothing makes you think, you know what? I don't need any of this bleep like moving house. I
Uh,
mean, all kinds of things that you know you would go out and buy the next day. But when you're in the process of trying to haul it from there to there, it's like, you know what? I could just leave this crap for the next person. It'll have you thinking stuff you need, stuff you want, like the
yeah.
kids or the dog. You'll be like, you know what?
hmm
All of you, you're here. I'm going over here. Forget it. But we can't do it that way.
Oh.
Got to get that security deposit back.
hmm
But hopefully you're done with security deposits for the rest of time.
Yeah,
Now,
we are fully moved out of the apartment now.
yeah, now if you knock a hole in your wall, you know whose fault that gets to be?
Me with a thing of spackle.
That's right. That's right. Or maybe you can call me. I need some little jobs like that. I can practice on your place
hmm
for less than a premium. But this is 40K Fanatics podcast where we talk about our plastic mins from the far future. And here we go. First part of the show, we're going to open up the Vox channel where normally we read your comments, and next week we will read your comments. But last week, Austin was in the midst of that move that we just talked about. It took up all his time. So I did a solo pod. A solo pod. And therefore, Austin has comments. What do you think of the
Yeah.
solo pod about how 40K grew up? If you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it. Also, just a quick aside before you get started. We need about 40 more subscribers, and I want to encourage everybody that listens to make sure you are subscribed because YouTube recently has had a new algorithm change, and it appears that unless we put in the title something like 40K is broken or GW ruined 40K, nobody sees the pod on their various pages.
It's
So,
wild.
if you've ever listened before, if you're listening now, go ahead and subscribe. That way it shows up in your subscriptions and you can know where we are and when. Every Monday morning for YouTube, but every Friday you get it early if you listen on Spotify, where you can also comment and you can like and you can give it 5 stars or else. There's also the Discord, of course, where you can get at us and keep track of what's going on. The Discord is totally free. Link below. That's all the business out of the way. Austin, what do you think about my audio essay on how 40K grew up and the evolution of gaming et al?
Well, Shane, I have to honestly say that I thought it kind of sucked because, coming at 40K, I come at it from a highly competitive mindset, and I think there's no point in playing the game if we're not here to crush noobs and just be top dog in all our exploits.
Yeah, no, things that are referred to as hobbies should always be pursued with a militant and violent attitude and ran out to their absolute nth degree of effort and seriousness.
Totally. But in all honesty, I did think that the solo podcast, was really good. You covered a lot of points that I would have brought up if I was involved with it. Uh, I do think definitely there has been sort of a lead in from kind of online gaming mentalities with stuff like constant patches, just the overall competitiveness of me versus you in this game, where we can't really tell stories or anything. We have to see who's the winner, who's the loser, and kind of the meta chasing with it was, well, my army I play or my character I'm playing in the MOBA is not doing good right now, so I have to switch over to this other one who's more meta. It's kind of that you see a lot of that kind of effect going on in Warhammer right now.
Yeah, it's almost like nobody cares what it actually is. They just,
Yeah,
is it good or not? Which is kind of sad, right? Because being that we ostensibly have to paint these things, build these things, and look at them for hours on end, you know, I don't love, I got no love for Tau. I wouldn't want to paint 200 Necron warriors or whatever. Like I don't want to do that. So if if I had to play Tau or Necrons to be to have any enjoyment in playing the game, I mean, I might just I don't well, I know what I would do. I would play things like Crusade with people and I would play the new asymmetric missions and I would do fun stuff with people that are interested in doing fun stuff. That's what I do anyway. But
mm,
if you're said gun to your head, you got to win. It's like, well, then I'm just not. I'm going to go do something else for a while until this whole thing shakes up,
yeah,
because it will.
yeah.
Um, Go ahead.
I'll just say, it's crazy trying to do all this meta chasing and everything when we still have to paint like couple like so many dozen to 100 models to get this thing like off the floor and into the show. We can't we got to show up, we got to do our three minimum paint jobs, like slave away on that to even get to the point where we can do these tournaments with this meta thing. It's all just a big hoopla. It's just insanity.
Yeah, it's almost there's an incongruency, right? It's I think I laid out a strong case for the idea that especially younger people are coming to this because of what their sort of instinct of what a game is. But then you get to the nuts and bolts of actually trying to participate in this thing that way, and I hope, and I see it in the local community because I think there's a couple things going on. Let me expound for a moment. Um, our local community has got a whole lot of people that are very interested in the competitive scene and the competitive 40K. Right? They've got a whole team and they
Mhm.
share models and they sort of like uh, they think tank this thing, and that's fine. That's what they want to do. But I find that nearly every one of those guys will show up and play a fun list with me, play a crusade mission, play something out of White Dwarf, play asymmetric, play with the twist. They're happy to play whatever, with me at least. And possibly this has to do with sort of my, um, pushiness. I think someone would be, I would not be offended if somebody called me pushy, and maybe that's not what everybody is so good at doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like closed mouths don't get fed, right? I'm out here like, hey, who wants to play asymmetric? You want to play asymmetric? Anybody want to play? And then eventually somebody's like, you know what? I've played 5 sweaty competitive games this week. Yeah, I'll play some asymmetric with whatever I've got on the shelf that maybe I haven't got to use in a while because it's no good, air quotes, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I think that the point of the whole pod, we had some comments about it from the listeners, and we'll probably have more by next week, and we'll read them then. But I want to kind of put a bow on that pod in what was the point of it. And the point of it, which you tell me if I kind of got to it at the end, is your your miniature war games experience does not have to be anything like your golf or your pickup basketball or your Call of Duty. And that is okay. If you are someone who, maybe you're feeling a little bit disenchanted with the rate that you have to pursue this thing, I encourage everyone, and this is sort of like the small voice of reason in the torrent of competitive discourse, right? Um, to like check on yourself and say, "Am I tripping? Am I doing this wrong? Is my entire mentality of this warped in some way by other gaming experiences?" That was sort of the point of the whole thing.
I thought it was a really good podcast. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed listening to it.
I'm just glad I was able to talk for 42 uninterrupted minutes. I told that to my
Isn't that
wife,
great?
like I said in the pod, and she was not surprised in the least.
Mhm.
But it's time now to open up the bits box and talk about what we've done in the hobby this week. Open it up. Man, I had to do the sound effects last week, and that felt quite awkward.
I bet.
Telling myself to open it up, that doesn't make any sense. The Bits Box is the part of the show where we talk about what we've done in the hobby this week. And I have. So, are you familiar with the painter slash instructor Mamicon on Twitter, Instagram, etc.?
I don't believe so.
Well, he's great. I don't know where he's from. I believe he is a Golden Demon winner. Gotta be. He's so good. And he's got a lot of those masterclass videos and things like that, and a Patreon where he, does real in-depth step-by-step. I do not subscribe to him, but he is tempting me because I see his stuff. And he posted a picture on X, and it was of a little. It was just a sword scabbard with the sword in it for like a space marine, right? That was all it was. And it was poster tacked to a piece of cork, and it was painted to a ridiculous level. And I commented that I said, "This is just for instructional purposes on how to paint leather, right? It's not because you can't help yourself. That's what it is for me." All right. When I am painting one model these days, I am going full ball sack all the time for absolutely no reason, but I can't help myself any longer. So last week I painted my new Chaos Lord, who is the new sculpt, the one with the big fur on top of his shoulders, and I painted him as a red Corsair, which is a brand new uh, Legion for me. I'd never painted one. Did a little research, looked him up on what the sort of scheme should look like. Found a couple of different options, so I picked the bits that I liked from each, and just completely went to town. There is no doubt that he is the best face I've ever painted, but then probably the best cape I've ever done, the best fur I've ever done, the best fades with the red armor that I've ever done by
Mhm.
far. You can see him over on our Discord in the Bits box, and I think he looks really cool. Uh, but that's been a new development in my painting where I'm willing to just say, for these 3 hours, I'm going to paint the armor panels and then call that a session, or maybe start on a little bit of something else. But I'm getting. It seems I've practiced and ingrained this habit of whenever I start to feel like I'm going to rush, I just say, all right, that's enough for today, and put him down and go on, and you'll go do something else. Where used to I would try to hurry the last little bits. Now I'm not feeling that anymore. I'm just like, good. This thing now is painted to the highest level that I'm capable of getting it, and it's done. And either I finished that part or I didn't, but I just set it down and come back to it later. And the quality has been able to increase uh, exponentially because of that. So that's that with him. Did we lose Austin?
Yep.
Oh no.
Oh, sorry. No.
Um, the downside is that's the only thing I've done in the hobby this week is paint that guy. So,
Mhm.
one model in 1 week. However, he looks really good, and I'm excited to get him on the table at some point so that he can die instantly before he takes any action whatsoever.
Yes, they do.
That is what they do, man. How about you?
Nothing.
Nothing. Next week, perhaps something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Either that or just more office organization.
there's been big news today as we record that interests you greatly, and I feel like it's a little bit in the Bits box um, purview. You want to tell
Yeah.
the people about the new Dawn of War?
I mean, I've only like skimmed through the trailer. I haven't actually sat down and watched it.
Now but you played Dawn of War, no?
No, I've never played Dawn of War.
Okay, I can't ever keep track of which one you have played and which ones you haven't. Well, it looked
I've
good.
only
Dawn of
yeah,
War 4, is that what it is?
yeah, it's a very good cinematic.
It was a very good cinematic, and the gameplay that said not final looked really good too. I mean,
Mhm.
Really impressive. There's a shot of the of one of the tanks rolling through, and it's shooting from all its little weapons, which was I thought was a nice touch. You know,
Yeah.
uh, 40
Uh,
40K is funny
War.
where every single tank is just bristling with 18 guns. It feels like, except because we don't use any sort of because you can shoot your little tail gun from the tip of your tank cannon. We don't ever think about how these things just look like they're shooting fireworks from every direction.
Yeah, especially when you're rolling each weapon one at a time, it kind of takes away the whole idea that these are all firing simultaneously.
Yeah, it's awesome. I could see me picking up this Dawn of War 4.
Yeah, you get the remakes out now, so you can pick that up, or the remaster of the first game.
I'm sure it's $60 for no reason other than
But it's on sale right now for like $26. I think the full
oh,
game's 30 for 29.99.
well, you never know. You never know. Well, all right. I
Yeah.
guess that's a short bits box. I hope you've got a lot for the main topic today, sir. Close it up.
Purple.
Also, guys, don't forget you can share your Bitsbox over in the Discord, in the Bitsbox section. And in fact, I think was it Dave and Company shared some more of his Emperor's Children that he's been painting,
Yeah,
and
look really good.
they look good. So Dave and Company, frequent contributor to the podcast, he has a painting style of it's not careful, but it's loud. And at gaming distance, his stuff looks unbelievable. Uh, he's done Emperor's Children, and the main takeaway that you will get if you go to our Discord, join it, and look at Dave and Company's paint jobs is those Emperor's Children are pink. You hear me? They are.
Mm-hmm.
What color are they? Pink.
Hey.
Man, they look good. Bright. I like them.
Mhm.
And he does this highlight pass that's real big and chunky and makes them look it makes them read well. Uh, So go check that out. There's some bonus bits box. Our main topic today, you came up with this one, and it was inspired by your move, was it not?
Yeah, it kind of came to me in a sense of exasperation and just ready for this all to be over with.
Well, lead us out, Captain.
Well, I had texted you, or you texted me. You asked, "Hey, what are we talking about?" And at that point, I was laying on the couch, just dripping sweat from having moved, I think, aquarium stuff in, and that was a big hassle. And I was like, I don't know what the heck we're gonna be talking about because I haven't even put any thought into like Warhammer in the past like week or so. Uh, so I was just like, only thing I could think of was I hate moving. So we're gonna talk about uh, kind of pile of shame slash moving your hobby stuff. Kind of what do you need, what do you don't need, what can you get rid of? Because I've been having to go through that myself. And I told you, I said, what it feels like right now is that I'm kind of like Sisyphus in the Greek myth, and I'm having to roll my big boulder of everything that I own in my life, my entire life, having to move it up the hill, and it is just horrible. It feels like I am in Dante's Inferno, being punished for my greed in hell right now, moving all my earthly possessions every day in the heat, because it's heat index lately. While we've been doing all this, has been either around 100 or above 100, and it has been just horrible.
Yeah, yesterday was a record setter, I think, of sorts, and at least for this year. And I saw it was a heat index of 104. So for our European listeners, we have a few of those. Um, the heat index is what we do where we sort of not add up, but there's some sort of math equation where the heat and the humidity factor. I don't know if they have this anywhere but in the south of the USA. And the reason we're able to have that, folks, is I don't know what 95 Fahrenheit is in Celsius, but it's a lot. And
It's like
somehow we're able to
around
make
40.
okay 40, and somehow we're able to maintain 70% humidity. Like a
Yeah.
like a jungle or a rainforest would.
or a vegetable steamer.
Yes, or a vegetable steamer. It's real gross. And yeah, it is the way of moving house in that it is always raining, viciously hot. There's ice on the ground because just carrying every single solitary loose item you own is not hard enough. I think this has to do with like original sin or something that mankind is doomed to have this experience every time they move.
Hmm. And you know, I had to do that whole storage situation where my parents are also in the process of moving, so I have to get everything out of their house. But by the time they had been doing that, we weren't closed on this house, so I had to get a kind of a third place storage center to act as a relay point to store those items before I could even move into the house.
You
So I've
moved
been like
you moved two and a half
been
you
doing
moved 1.5 times.
yes, I've been doing double moving,
That's
moving
ridiculous.
everything to there and then moving it from there to here.
But then that thought got you thinking about um, the old acquisition syndrome
Yeah.
and the pile of shame. And what it
Hmm.
means, why we do it. What'd you come to?
Well, see, I've been moving some like boxes of miniatures and stuff that I haven't touched in years at this point. Uh, Stuff like 28 millimeter Civil War, Middle Earth strategy battle games, Age of Sigmar, and I've just been thinking, no, I really just don't need this. I don't have any real drive to play this right now. I don't really see myself doing it in the future, and if I did, I'd go in a different direction. Uh, so I think pretty soon you're going to be seeing these armies for sale.
I when you pitched this idea, I knew you would be leading it, but I did make some notes of things I wanted to comment on and give my thoughts. And something I put down is when should you let go?
Hmm.
And you've touched on that a little bit. It is easy to get a lot of different games and have a lot of great ideas, and then and then where do you draw the line? How many years does that starter set of bolt action need to sit untouched in its box before you say, you know what? It appears I don't want to play bolt action.
Yeah,
At least not bad enough to do it as it exists as a miniature hobby game, right? A miniature war game. Because it's not like you can just unbox it, read the instructions, and go. It's not Monopoly.
yeah,
I think starter sets are some of the worst offenders of this stuff because they do present like it's all included. It's all in the box. All you got to do is build and paint it, and then you can play. But that,
just play it. Just get right out. Bring over your friends and yeah.
yeah, all you have to do is build and paint 50 models. What? That's, you have to build and paint. How many? 50 models. Oh, right. Um,
Well, that'll be easy. You sit down and paint one, and you're like, okay, I had my fill.
yeah, I have most of the Americans built for my bolt action starter set. There was a reason I brought it up. Uh, the Germans are still on their sprues. They've not been touched, and something like half the Americans have not been painted. So, we're going on 2 years. There's a new starter set now. I'm like, am I gonna play bolt action? The answer is actually probably, but not right now. So when do you let go? It's a good question because I don't really have the answer, but it's definitely worth considering. But you have decided that some of that stuff's got to go.
Yeah, I'm going to touch on first with the 28 millimeter Civil War. I got that during the pandemic when I was, as a lot of people did during the pandemic, just dived into kind of a new special interest to take up their time during that time period. So I deep dove into the American Civil War, and as part of that, I got the Perry Miniatures Civil War starter set that came with both sides in 28 millimeter. Which, if you don't know, 28 millimeter is kind of just a little bit smaller than Warhammer scale. It's kind of like Warhammer with realistic scaling, so non-heroic. But I had that, and I built that, and I painted some of the models. But then a couple months after I had gotten to that, Warlord Games came out with their 15 millimeter scale. It's actually about 13 millimeter, but they're small scale epic battle Civil War, which is just like tons and tons of little tiny guys that makes it look like an actual battle. It looks like actual guys instead of like 9 guys ranked up to represent like a battalion coming through
Yeah.
or a regiment. Uh, so I have both of those sets, and I'm like, I don't really see myself ever touching this 28 millimeter when I have the 15 millimeter game that I could do instead. So
Yeah.
if I'm going to keep one of these, I'm going to be keeping the smaller one that actually feels more like a fleshed out battle than the little tiny. It's almost like a skirmish black powder, or sorry, the black powder from Warlord Games. It kind of almost feels like a skirmish game, and like how small the units are, like represented on the table.
Yeah, and as a painting project, I can see those 28s being much more fun. But for the game and for that time period, I agree with you. The epic scale is definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
The
So
revel, they've recently released the Revolutionary War version of that, and it looks so good.
yeah, they keep getting better with each one.
Yeah, the British are coming, and those redcoats look good. Um,
hmm
my next little musing about this pile of shame, because look, everybody's got a pile of shame. We didn't even bother defining what the pile of shame is. The pile of shame is stuff that is either sitting in its boxes or built and unpainted or partially built and unpainted or maybe even broke down into subassemblies and it's just been collecting dust or it's made its way into a tub loose with other things and you mean to get to it but you keep getting new stuff and stuff gets to the front of the line and you just aren't doing it. And it
Yeah.
makes you feel some kind of way because it's just money sitting there wasted. It's effort sitting there wasted. It's dreams unfulfilled.
hmm
But on the flip side, don't fret because I've got marked down here. They don't go bad.
No.
So this is a thing that when I get the feeling of like, do I care about this? Do I want to get rid of XYZ? It occurs to me that, and we could sort of tie this to even the game system. We could tie this to 40K a little bit, uh, or my discussion about it last week. Uh, 40K gets a lot of touches constantly to the rules. The majority of other games do not. They're pretty well they get released as a book, and maybe there's a little FAQ or errata document, and then that's it. You may never see another update. I imagine that that Civil War game that you've got, the rule book is probably still good. You can put it all together and just play. And
Yeah.
with 40K, it's a bit that way too. Even though it is the most updated, steadily thing. I don't predict a day where a box of Space Marines that you have, that's I mean, squat Marines aside, if you've got any box bought in the last 5 years, they're probably still going to be good 5 years from now. If I've got a box of Raptors that I haven't got around to, there's probably still going to be Raptors, largely unchanged, uh, in the future, right?
Yeah.
The tanks never go
Uh,
bad.
oh yeah. Like Lehman Russ tanks haven't got an update in like I think 20 years.
Well, even if they did, now you could have an old one and a new one, and it'd probably be fine. You see,
Yeah.
um, and then with regard to game systems, those starter sets and things, like the Judge Dredd game just got retired. But me and the
Mm.
wife played Judge Dredd the other night, and it was great. And you know what rules we used?
What?
The totally unedited, unupdated, because there never was an edit or an update, right out of the rule book that came with the starter set. And it
Oh.
and it worked as good as it did the first time we played it years ago. So,
Hmm.
that's the other side of a pile of shame is it's okay if you don't get to it. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
we wouldn't even talk about a pile of shame if it was model cars or model airplanes. It would just be like, oh, you bought too much stuff, but you'll get to it when you get to it, won't you? That
Mhm.
Spitfire is still going to be a Spitfire 10 years from now.
Mhm.
They're plastic. Even if the box gets wet, you can still put the thing together.
Yeah, just don't get the decals wet.
Don't get the decals wet. That'll be the end of it. Um, what else you got on
Yeah,
this point?
I don't know.
How do you feel about that one?
I'd like to add that it's true they don't go bad, but there's also you've got your time to deal with. Your time's finite on this planet. And it's like the models theoretically could last eternity before entropy eventually wears them down into little molecules. So it's kind of like it'll last forever. But it's like your time. What games? Going this from a gaming perspective, what games you really want to invest your time into playing? Is kind of the thing with it because they can go on forever. These models, but it's like I really want to like just keep putting off. I'm going to play that game eventually. I'm going to play that game eventually, and you just never play it. Or if it's not something you're really interested in, that's kind of what I'm saying about it.
Oh yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think most people's pile of shame is probably more just extra stuff for the armies they've
Yeah.
got. And to that I say like don't worry about it. It'll probably be fine.
Hmm.
You know what? Or flip it the other way and just sell it and take your loss
Yeah.
because
I,
maybe you don't want 3 Helldrakes in your Chaos Space Marine army.
yeah. I'd say that if it's something in your army, yeah, it eventually it's gonna get around being good in the whatever edition we're on. So you're gonna probably eventually build it. But if you've got like a Space Marine collection, then you have like a couple leagues of Votan stuff sitting around.
What are you doing?
Then it's kind of like, well, what are you doing? Because you're either gonna get off, you have to get off the pot or poop at this point. You got to either uh, start a Votan army or
Clip
figure
that.
out what to do with this stuff. Yeah.
Um I want to do one more thing with this pile of shame discussion. I feel like we're coming at it from some different angles than most people. Uh, on YouTube, on painting channels, the pile of shame is always dealt with by here's a way to paint faster. And
Hmm.
I don't know if that's the answer. I don't know if just gritting your teeth and coming up with some sort of sloppy, possibly wasteful method of getting stuff done is actually the most fulfilling avenue, you know?
Yeah, because then you end up like, okay, I painted all my boxes. Now I got like a ton of shitty models
Yeah.
taking up space now. I've converted my pile of shame boxes to my pile of shame half painted crappy models.
Yeah, I mean, you know that's a funny that's a funny thing to think about, right? Oh, I got this pile of shame. Look at all this unpainted stuff. I don't want anybody to know how many models I don't have painted. And then you do it. It's like now I got all these painted models that I don't want anybody to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that would not feel better. What I have here is a case for leaving things in their box. So hear me out. I have stopped just building stuff. Now, part of this is because I am super bougie and I will not play an unpainted model. Now, I know that is a bridge too far for most people, but it is not for me. It's not for our podcast founder Casey either. I don't believe he's ever played a non-painted model. But I mean, he would tell you first and foremost he is a painter more than he is a gamer or anything else. Uh, I appear to also be a bit more of a painter than anything else, um, though I do like to get down. And to that end, what I find makes me feel better about the pile of shame, which I don't have a ton of. I almost am on the other side where I need to buy a little more stuff, especially for 40K, in fact. But what I've started to do is until I'm ready to do it, until I'm ready to play with it, until I'm ready to paint it, until I'm ready to actually finish the project, I don't I don't even look at the sprue. I don't take it out of the
Uh,
box. And that has been one, it keeps down on clutter because it's easier to store flat boxes than it is to deal with like painted models, unpainted models, models in progress, right? On your various shelves. So when I go to do a project, it's like, all right, it's time to build these 5 guys, 10 guys, whatever it is. For Old World, I would build 12 to 15 guys at a time and then paint 12 to 15 guys at a time. That's the project. That's the bite of the elephant that we're going to eat on that day, couple days, week, whatever it's got to be, right?
Mhm.
And that feels a lot better because it makes it feel like you're making meaningful progress when you take a box. Maybe you got 5 boxes. Your place looks like the Warhammer rack, right? You got 5 things, and you say, "Today I'm going to do this one." You pull it out, and now you've got less. And then by the time you go pull another, you've got that thing fully realized to the standard that you wish it to be on your shelf, ready to go. It feels like a very healthy way to do the hobby. And I understand if that's silly to some people because they want to play, and that's your prerogative. However, maybe just play with one new toy at a time.
Yeah.
If you think a pile of shame's a problem. Because you know what? We always get to this when we're talking about, is Warhammer too expensive? Or do they come out with too much stuff? Or is it pay to win and you got to buy all this stuff, right? And we talk
Mhm.
about piles of shame. We talk about, the sort of gear acquisition syndrome and all this kind of thing. Uh, I always want to remind everyone that if you are somebody who, whether you are willing to admit it or not, just like to buy stuff, that's totally fine. There are people whose favorite part of the hobby is swiping their card and carrying stuff out of the store.
Consumers.
It's totally fine. There's no there's no shame in that. Like, I think that there's a lot of there tends to be a lot of personal anxiety and sort of rationalizing that takes place where people come up with this, that, and the other reason why they're buying this thing now instead of later because, well, I don't want to miss it, or well, I'm planning on doing this, that, or the other. All that's fine, and that is part and parcel of the person who just likes to buy stuff. But I'm not hating. It's totally fine if you just like to buy stuff. That's good.
Hmm.
You like to buy stuff for Old World.
Yeah, I am a fiend for the made to order stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and they really see you coming too, because talking about the FOMO, like if you miss out on the made to order, you really do miss out. Like they're not playing. I missed out on a made to order, and I had to pay $130 for one solitary model. My Stormweaver on Unicorn, which have I posted that in the bits box? I don't know if I have, but I talked about it last week. It's awesome. It would have been
Mhm.
way more awesome for $40.
Yeah.
So, what else you got on Pile of Shame, Austin?
I think that's it. I'm just think the takeaway is look at your stuff, and as the Netflix lady says, if it doesn't bring you joy, toss it in the trash or put it on eBay.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Um, so I don't have these sort of anxiety feelings because I have a lot of sociopathic tendencies, but I have seen many people espouse this idea that they look at their pile of shame, it makes them feel some kind of way about having it, and so they don't even begin to tackle it because it makes for kind of a miserable experience, right? Rather than
Yeah.
painting and feeling accomplished, they sit down and they're somewhat overcome by a feeling of dread about the whole thing. And so they just go to YouTube and maybe listen to us, which is good. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's a tough place to be in. You don't want to be like that. I feel like if you're there, take everything that, do what Austin's saying. Who was that? Was that Marie Kondo?
Possibly.
I think that was her name. Yeah. If it does not spark joy, you might as well. I don't know what. Give it to a neighbor.
Give it to someone who has a larger pile of shame. Give it to
It's-
someone who's just starting their pile of shame. Help them grow it.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, so somebody that's got like a half an army, and you give them something just totally unrelated to their army because
Yeah.
they're gonna like it anyway. They're
Your
they're
Uncle Warhammer? Yeah, I'll
they're
take
too,
that.
they're too new to know better. Next thing you
Yeah.
know, they're like, well, now I've bought half of two armies, and you've ruined them forever. All right.
Mhm.
That's the pod. You guys be sure to like and subscribe, do all the things. Come and see us next week where we will read some comments about the How Warhammer Grew Up audio essay. Go and listen to it. And until next time, don't forget to
Stay fanatical.